Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for our last session of our Coping Skills Over the Holidays series. And today we're going to be talking about ways that we can start the new year feeling grounded. And these are skills that actually apply to the entire year, but I felt it was particularly appropriate at this time of the year as we finish that holiday rush. So I wanted to start quickly by talking about, what does grounded mean? What does it mean when we say feeling grounded? And the definition that I found that spoke to me the most is by Psychology Today, and they define being grounded as the ability to be completely aware and conscious during the present moment. When you're grounded, you're in complete control of your mental and emotional self and not easily influenced by other ideas or individuals. Those who are grounded allow life's small mishaps to roll off their shoulders. So essentially, being grounded means being present and embodied. It doesn't mean that we're not going to face challenges. Rather, it means that we'll be better prepared to meet these challenges when they do arise. And we might actually interpret them differently and not see them as challenges. Or else we'll be more in control of ourselves at the very least, and more in control of our reaction when we do face these challenges. So today I'm going to cover 3 very general skills that can help us to feel more grounded. And these are mindfulness, using affirmations or mantras, and gratitude. So the first skill that I want to cover is mindfulness. And I'm sure you've heard of mindfulness. It's very much a buzzword right now. And so I won't go into much about what mindfulness is. If you're interested, you can take a look on our page. I've actually done a presentation in the past that really goes into, mindfulness 101. But one thing I always like to reiterate about mindfulness is that it's very much a journey and not a destination. There is not a point where we'll ever achieve peak mindfulness. We're there, so we don't need to do it anymore. That's not, the goal or the point of mindfulness. Rather, it's something that we commit to practicing regularly to live a mindful lifestyle. And that's what's going to help us to feel grounded. Mindfulness does require a lot of practice, but please don't be scared. It's not like, practicing a sport. It's more something that it's very easy to practice throughout our day and takes very little effort. We do, however, want to be practicing it again and again, because when we do, we're actually forming new neural pathways. So practicing mindfulness changes the physiology of our brains, which I think is pretty cool. And we want to make sure that we're practicing mindfulness in situations that are easy. So when there are no challenges, when we're feeling relatively calm, this is when we want to start learning these mindfulness skills, practicing them, noticing how they make us feel, because that's going to make it that much easier for us to access these skills when we are facing challenges, and it will help us to feel grounded when we are facing these challenges. So I gave a very quick, very broad list of different ways that you can practice mindfulness. And this is just really to give you an idea, if you don't know where to start, of where to start with mindfulness and ways that you can easily incorporate it into your day-to-day. And I've broken this down into 3 general categories. So using the breath and senses, meditation, and activities. And if we look first at using the breath and senses, the easiest way that we can practice mindfulness, and the thing that we all have access to, is our breath. And so mindful breathing is always a great place to start. And at Attach Niagara, we incorporate this a lot into our sessions. But essentially, it's just becoming aware of our breath. And it's strange, we breathe every day, we need to survive, but we very rarely notice it. So it's really bringing mindful attention to our breath as we're inhaling and exhaling, noticing what that feels like. And just focusing in on the breath, seeing what it feels like for you, how calm it is, if there's changes in it. And you can do this throughout your day. You can sit down and do this for 5 minutes, or you can do this for 30 seconds. You can just check in with yourself, set an alarm, say, okay, I need to check in with my breath for a little bit. We can also use our 5 senses. So that's sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch, and bringing awareness to these senses. And that's way to be mindfulness. So what are you hearing around you right now? And really tuning into those sounds. Or what are you able to smell? One thing I really like is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. So this is tuning into, for example, 5 things that you can see around you, and really focusing your attention on each of those 5 things. 4 things that you can feel or touch. 3 things that you can hear. 2 things you can smell. And then one thing you can taste, and if you can't taste anything right now, just really bringing to mind a taste that you really enjoy. And then there's also body scans. So bringing mindful attention to the different areas in our bodies, starting, either from the head or the toes and working your way up or down, and really focusing on what you're experiencing in your body. The second broad category that I provided is meditation. And this is what I feel most people probably think of when they hear mindfulness. And I'm here to assure you that, meditation is a part of mindfulness. It's a type of mindfulness, but it's not the end all be all of mindfulness. You do not need to be able to sit down for 30 minutes and be able to meditate without distractions. Because I don't think that I would be able to do that. But there are so many different types of meditation that you can do. And these all vary in length. But some of my favorites are, guided meditation. So there's actually a voice telling you, what to be doing, guiding you with your breath, guiding you on where your attention should be, what to do if you're feeling distracted. And then there's also visualizations and imagery, where it's actually walking you through a scene that you will visualize in your mind. And then the final category is activities. So these are things that we do in our day-to-day that we can do mindfully. Things such as eating, drinking when you're having that cup of coffee or that cup of tea, really bringing, your attention to it. What does the cup feel like in your hands? What does it smell like? What does the color look like? How does it feel as you take that first sip? We can go for mindful walks. So that's really, going for a walk without your headphones, without your phone in your hands, just paying attention to the things you're seeing and hearing and experiencing. Our chores, doing our dishes or our laundry mindfully. Being creative. So whether you like to draw or paint, to take pictures, to play an instrument or sing, these are all things that we can do mindfully. Any type of exercising. Yoga is a great one to do mindfully, but this could be, going for your run or a bike ride or even lifting weights and just making sure your attention is there. And then just so much more. So essentially anything that you're doing throughout your day, you can do it mindfully. The next skill that I want to present that will help you to be grounded is affirmations and mantras. And essentially this is a way of setting an intention for your day, of how you want to approach the day and any challenges that it presents. And an affirmation or a mantra can be any simple little phrase or even single word that will kind of guide you throughout the day and help you to reframe any maladaptive negative thoughts as they arise. And so you want to choose something that has meaning for you and practice these when we are feeling grounded so that they are more effective during challenging times. So often it's a great idea to pick an affirmation or mantra, right when you wake up in the morning, and say this to yourself a few times so that throughout your day as you meet challenges, you can kind of come back to this affirmation. And so a couple of ideas of how you can use affirmations and mantras throughout your day. The first and the one that I suggest the most is writing it down somewhere or taking a picture of it. So this means, once you've picked your affirmation or your mantra, maybe writing it down on a sticky note and putting it places you'll see it, such as your mirror, in your car, at your desk. Or you could write it down on a little piece of paper and keep that in your pocket. One thing that I've done and I really enjoyed was I would save a picture of it as my phone's wallpaper on my lock screen. So every time I had to pick up my phone to look at something, my affirmation would come up and that would just kind of serve as a good reminder for me to check in with myself. There's also plenty of affirmation meditations available. So you can check those out on YouTube, on Spotify. I believe there's even some on our Facebook page if you use the search function. And these are meditations that really guide you through some positive affirmations that you can repeat to yourself. Or else you can look at this very simply and just pick one word that represents how you want to approach your day, and repeat that word to yourself as you're breathing mindfully and as you go throughout your day. So super easy, but a great tool to bring into our days to help us to feel grounded. And then the last but not least skill that I want to talk about is gratitude. Gratitude, which is essentially feeling grateful, being grateful for what we have. And the reason that we want to focus on gratitude is because it's so important to have an abundant mindset over a scarcity mindset. And this really means that, we're looking for the positive over the negative. I'm not sure if you've ever noticed this, but the brain is kind of a magnet for negativity. For some reason it's pre-programmed to look for, the negative and not necessarily for the good. And that's why we want to retrain it to be able to notice this. But you might have had a day where, you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, not feeling good. And it feels like everything you saw throughout that day was not that great, was quite negative. Things you missed your bus, you spilled your drink all over yourself. All of these bad things seem to happen. Versus maybe a day you woke up, felt like a great day, you were in a great mood already, and all these things seem to be working out for you and working great. So this is why we want to bring gratitude. It's really about retraining the brain. And there's always something that we can be grateful for, even during difficult times. This is not to, belittle the situation you're in. And there are times that where, things are just really, really not going well in our lives. But there's always at least something very basic that we can be grateful for. And those are the things we want to look for. And gratitude is really going to help open our hearts and help us to be present, which, as we talked about in the beginning, is a big component of being grounded. So just a few ideas to get you started on how you could practice gratitude. Other than just, thinking to yourself, what are the things I'm grateful for, and listing them in your head, you could also express your gratitude through art, right? So using whatever means speaks to you, drawing, painting, music, photography, you name it, and expressing the things you're grateful for through that. You could do journaling, and this can be very formal. You can have dedicated prompts that you write about, or it could just be, keeping a book or a notepad where you list 5 things every day that you're feeling grateful for. There is Starfish Breathing, and that's a great grounding resource because we're bringing in breathwork and gratitude. And essentially that is using your hand as the starfish, and we are starting at the thumb. And as we're bringing our finger up to the tip, we are breathing in. We pause at the tip to think of something we're grateful for, and then we slowly exhale, dragging our finger down. And we do this again for all of our fingers. And if you feel like you still need some more grounding work, you bring in your other hand. We have 2 starfishes, 2 hands. And then lastly, visualization. And this is one of my favorites because it really allows us to tap into, how what we are grateful for makes us feel. So this is really taking the time to picture the things we're grateful for and really tap into the senses and see how we feel in our body when we think of this thing that we're grateful for. So that was it. That was our 3 general skills that will help us to feel more grounded. I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments below. And I thank you for joining us today.